Okay, let's dive right into this explainer. Look, we have all been there, right? Staring at some impossibly thick textbook, just feeling completely overwhelmed by the endless memorization and the complex rules. Well, today, we are going to totally validate that universal desire to learn a new language quickly, but without getting bogged down by traditional, stuffy classroom methods. We're focusing purely on the absolute fastest path toward fluency.
So imagine for a second, what if you could genuinely just skip the most tedious parts of learning? Today, we are treating language learning exactly like a video game speedrun. We're going to rely on some incredibly smart, practical hacks drawn straight from the insights of Walid Shadadi, the founder of Lingualid.
Here is our quick roadmap for today. We'll start with number 1, the language learning speedrun. Then 2, hack your starting vocabulary. 3, simplify your grammar focus. 4, real-world native practice. And finally, number 5, immersion through listening.
All right, let's get right into section 1, the language learning speedrun.
To kick things off, we really need to talk about a crucial psychological primer. This happens before you even attempt to memorize a single word. Step 1 is actually to research the language and fall in love with it. Now I know, that might sound surprisingly romantic for a hacker's guide, right? But Lingualid points out something super fundamental here. Before you study, investigate. Look into the language's history, how it's used every day, its different varieties, how it connects to other languages. When you learn its story, you start to genuinely fall in love with it. And why does this matter so much? Because when you have that authentic passion, the inherently difficult parts, like those grammar rules that just don't make sense yet, suddenly feel a whole lot easier to tackle. You have a real, burning reason to push through.
Moving right along to section 2, hack your starting vocabulary.
This is where we build an immediate confidence booster. We're going to prove to your brain that you actually already know hundreds of words in your target language. Think about the word sugar in English. In French, it's sucre. Spanish, azúcar. Arabic, azúcar. This beautifully illustrates the incredible power of cognates. Cognates are simply words shared across languages that often sound incredibly similar. If you're learning French, for example, you already share thousands of words with English. So identifying these cognates gives you a massive vocabulary starting point on literally day 1. You just have to watch out for the false friends, those sneaky words that sound the same but mean something totally different. But overall, you aren't starting from zero. You're starting with a massive advantage.
So what's the actual game plan from there? Well, it's a very specific step-by-step order. After you nail down cognates and false friends in step 1, step 2 is immediately pivoting to the most frequently used adjectives and nouns. Then, step 3, you learn infinitive verbs. But here is the real hack. Don't just learn them as some boring standalone list. Start putting them into simple sentences right away. By learning your vocabulary in this specific order and placing the words in context, you naturally start grasping the language's structure without any of that tedious rote memorization.
Which brings us to section 3, simplify your grammar focus.
Now we arrive at the absolute core technique of this entire explainer. This is the grammar shortcut that practically changes everything. If you compare a traditional learner to someone on the fast path, the difference is night and day. Traditional classroom methods are painstakingly slow because they want you to memorize present, past, and future tenses for I, you, he, she, we, and they all at the exact same time. It's totally overwhelming. The fast path, you just completely ignore third-person conjugations at first. In the present tense, only learn I and you, because honestly, to handle a basic introductory conversation, you don't need to talk about other people yet. For the past tense, just learn the equivalent of I just did. For the future, learn I'm going to. With just these simplified workarounds, you can instantly start having meaningful back-and-forth chats without getting paralyzed trying to remember complex conjugations.
All right, section 4, real-world native practice.
With the foundational basics unlocked, it is time to transition from isolated study out into the real-world sandbox. It is time to pressure test your new skills. And to do this, you need what we call the Rapid Fluency Toolkit. You need an always-on translator app, the HelloTalk app to find native speakers, and Facebook language exchange groups. The whole point here is to use these tools to start texting native speakers immediately. Think of your translator app as a set of training wheels. When you don't know a word, translate it, listen to the pronunciation, and just send it. As you keep doing this in active conversations, your vocabulary naturally expands, and eventually, you'll realize you don't even need the translator anymore.
And this kind of setup is exactly what a language exchange is all about. You practice by teaching your native language to someone who is trying to learn it. So you might be an English speaker wanting to learn French, and you partner up with a French speaker wanting to learn English. It creates this beautifully, mutually beneficial environment. You are practicing and teaching each other simultaneously, which completely removes the anxiety and the judgment of a formal classroom setting. It's practical, it's real, and it is highly effective.
And finally, Section 5, Immersion through Listening.
This final pillar is all about training your ear so you can actually comprehend the responses you're getting from those native speakers. The mandate here is super simple. Listen to podcasts in your target language as much as humanly possible. Lingualid highly recommends resources like the Innovative Language app, which is just packed with podcast-style lessons. In fact, he famously downloaded over 2 gigabytes of MP3 and video lessons during a single 7-day free trial, just to make sure he had a massive reservoir of listening input. You absolutely need that constant exposure. You have to tune your ear to the rhythm, the speed, and the natural flow of the language.
And that brings us perfectly to the core philosophy of this whole approach. As Lingualid puts it, the most important thing is to be able to communicate with people, and that comes after you get what they are saying. This brilliantly sums up the ultimate goal of the fast path. Look, the end goal is not grammatical perfection. It's not passing a written exam. The goal is genuine human connection. It's about breaking down barriers and actually speaking with another person, which can only happen once you've trained yourself to truly hear and understand them.
So, armed with this entire hacker's roadmap to fluency, from leveraging those cognates to simplifying your grammar to just I and you, to diving headfirst into language exchanges with your translator as training wheels, I just have to leave you with one final question. What language are you going to speed run first? The absolute fastest path is laid out right in front of you. Now, it's just time to take that first step.